Hi, my name's Daryl.
And I'm Dawn.
And we're going to talk to you today about the logistics in planning for and doing the Rim to Rim hike. Now, I've done the Rim to River hike 3 times previously, and so I have that experience. And both myself and Dawn, we did the Rim to Rim hike last year.
And that was my first experience at the Grand Canyon ever.
That's right.
He talked me into it.
I did. And so if you're planning on doing Rim to Rim, it's really important that you prepare beforehand. And one of the things that you have to prepare for is the lodging and the transportation, the dates that you're going to actually do the hike, and if you're going to do the hike in one day or in multiple days.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do the hike in multiple days at one point. We wanted to get reservations at Phantom Ranch. How'd that go?
It didn't go so good.
So I know of people that have tried to get Phantom Ranch reservations for over 15 years and they're just unable to do so. And so if you really want to do the hike in multiple days, you're either going to have to get reservations at Phantom Ranch, or you're going to have to get camping reservations at the Bright Angel Campground. And that will require you to carry your gear down and also carry your gear back up. Now, there are options for them to transport your gear, but that's going to cost you extra money. But just getting those camping reservations, it's also difficult.
Yeah.
So I think for the first time, as long as you've prepared physically for the hike, I think the easiest way to do the Rim to Rim hike is just in one day.
I agree. I loved doing it in one day.
Yep.
It was really hard, but I can't imagine doing it any other way.
No. Now, let's talk about the dates that you actually want to do the Rim to Rim hike in. Now, we chose October 22nd as the date that we did the hike. We wanted to be in the fall. We didn't want to do it in the middle of summer. Last year, actually, the North Rim didn't open until the middle of June. I think June 15th is when it opened last year. So because of snow and some closures in the trail and stuff like that. So it doesn't always open up on May 15th. But typically people do the Rim to Rim hike from May 15th till about October 15th. That's when basically the North Rim is open. Now, it closes on October 15th. And so if you want to do the Rim to Rim hike after that date, you're going to have to stay outside of the North Rim. But I think fall is really the best time to do it.
Absolutely.
Now, we decided to do it on October 22nd. And so because of that, we actually had to stay outside of the North Rim. And you stayed at Kaibab Lodge.
Yep. Yeah, I stayed in a fourplex, a hiker cabin in a fourplex, and it was perfect. I got a great night's sleep. It was a nice little location. You could eat when you got there. So yeah, they had plenty of stuff for everybody. They had food, and they had a little a store where you could stock up on stuff if you forgot anything. It's worth checking out.
Okay. Now, so those are the dates. One of the things you also need to think about is the route that you want to take. So there are a number of different routes for doing Rim to Rim. You could go from the south side to the north side. You can also go from the north side to the south side. Some people actually will just do, I guess, what's called Rim to River, and some people call it also Rim to Rim, where they basically go from the south side, they go like down Bright Angel or down South Kaibab, and then they come up the same direction on the other basically trail. Yeah. So that's one thing to do, and that could be maybe your beginner hike that you want to do. In general, I think the expert guidance is to go from the south to the north, to go down South Kaibab and then up North Kaibab. Now, I did descend down South Kaibab when I did my Rim to River hike, and I've got to say that I do not think that's a great way of going. And the reason I say that is it is very steep going down. Now, it could have had to do with the time of year that I was doing this, because it was early in the year. I think it was in May that I did it. But there's a lot of steps. It's very dusty and it's very steep. And I fell 3 times going down that trail. So I went down that trail to Phantom and then back up Bright Angel. And by the time I got to Phantom Ranch, I was just totally exhausted. I had to go a lot slower than I thought I should because I'm going downhill because I fell so many times. And it was difficult. So even though maybe the expert guidance is to go down South Kaibab and then to go up North Kaibab, I actually think that's a mistake. I think the best direction for a first timer is to go down North Kaibab and to go up Bright Angel Trail. If you try to go up North Kaibab from Phantom Ranch, where you'll be going through the box, which is basically the hottest part of the hike, and then to get to Cottonwood Campground is 5.7 miles. And so that is a significant distance to go with hardly any water.
Right.
And then you have basically from the Cottonwood Campground, you have basically another water break, I think at about 1.5 miles. But then you don't have another water break till you get to Supai Tunnel, which is about another 4 miles or so. And so the nice thing about going up the south side is you get consistent water breaks every basically 1.5 miles once you get to Havasupai Garden.
Havasupai.
Havasupai Garden. And so that's really nice. And you also get a lot of people on that side, so you get a lot of camaraderie and a lot of people really helping you to make it up the south side. And so that would be our recommended route.
Agreed.
Okay.
Definitely. Down the north, up Bright Angel. That's how we're going to do it again.
This is how we're going to do it again. So now you have to plan on getting to the North Rim.
Right.
So basically the best way of doing that is to basically drive to the south side and park near the Bright Angel Trailhead.
Yeah, you can, at the backcountry office, there's a huge parking lot. Plenty of parking. Park there, it's a short walk over to the lodge. So yeah, and where you can, again, stock up on stuff, get your souvenirs if you want to, drag it with you. Yeah, but super easy, lots of parking. Well, at least when we went in October, there was plenty of parking.
And then so you were reserved the Trans Canyon Shuttle?
Yep, it was almost 5-hour bus ride, or not, van ride or whatever, from Bright Angel Lodge. It was $125, well worth it. I mean, 5 hours, that's a long ride.
Yeah.
So I would, it was really easy to catch a ride with them instead of driving all the way up.
So, and they basically have shuttles that go from the South Rim to the North Rim, and they do that
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
It's early in the morning, and then I think I took the 1 o'clock. It gets me up to the lodge at about 6:30 or something like that.
So it takes like 5.5 hours
it was
to get
about 5
there.
hours, but we stopped.
Yeah, stop for a rest break and stuff like that.
We had one stop for a rest break, and then we all decided that we wanted to pull over this bridge and look at the condors, because we had a condor expert in the van with us.
How often do you see a condor, right?
I know, it was pretty cool. So we spent a little extra time there, so that was nice.
So basically they have shuttles at 8 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. Every day, and it's $125.
Is it 1:30 or 1 o'clock?
1:30?
Is it?
That's what I wrote down.
Okay, it might be.
And then the shuttle, the check-in is about a half an hour beforehand, actually on the patio in the lodge, is that right?
It's outside.
Just outside somewhere?
Yeah, they stand out there. The company at the time, I don't know if they're going to have different color shirts, but they had blue shirts on with a clipboard. So they're like, go look for the person with the blue shirt and a clipboard, and that's who you sign in with. Okay. Yeah.
So you need to make that shuttle reservation beforehand. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't wait too long because they do get full, and so that could mess up your whole plan. So, have your date checked out, have your date figured out, make your transportation to do the Trans Canyon Shuttle, and also make your lodging reservation. Don, that was the Kaibab Lodge was $130 or so.
Yeah, less than 150.
Now they do fill up pretty quickly, probably especially in that time frame, right around the end of or the middle of October, because the Grand Canyon Lodge on the north side is closed, but they do also have cancellations as well. And so if you do last minute, you might be able to get in, but why risk it?
Yeah.
Just make your reservations beforehand. I mean, you've already got your
I've already got mine for October, so.
Yeah. You're all set. You might as well
Yeah.
make that reservation and have it done.
Especially if you're going with several people and you each want your own, or you need to have more than one. You know,
One
you can't
room.
just have the single, because a lot of the bigger ones seem to have been already spoken for.
Okay. Now, if you want to stay in the Grand Canyon and you want to stay in the lodge, I will put the rates and compare that to the Kaibab Lodge, but the benefit of that is you can actually stay right on the rim. One of the things that I did last year is me and Nicole, my wife, we actually boondocked, and we got to the rim a day early. So I actually spent 2 nights on the North Rim before my hike. And I really felt like that gave me a little bit of advantage. My lungs got acclimated to that altitude, and I felt it really helped me when I did the rim to rim hike. So one of the things you might want to consider, you know, especially if you're going to the North Rim and you're getting there before October 15th, is to actually stay inside the Grand Canyon, spend a couple of days, you know, kind of looking around and hiking around and, you know, checking out the sights. And then basically make your way to
Trailhead.
So one of the things you also have to consider is transportation from the lodge to the trailhead.
Right. And it's about a half-hour ride from the North Kaibab, from the lodge. And I know that if you're staying inside, it's what, like a 2-mile walk or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, but that's not an option after the 15th. So the option is either you have somebody drop you off at the trailhead. I suppose you could try and call an Uber. I don't know how easy it would be to get one on the north end. But if you're staying at Kaibab, then just hook up with a shuttle. It's $25.
Yep.
It starts, I think,
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock is the shuttle that I'm booked on again, and it'll drop you off at 4:30. And there's a restroom at the top, and then you can start your hike.
Yep. So that will put you there. I would recommend that you get there as early as possible, because
Absolutely.
the hike's going to take you anywhere probably between, I mean, if you're super physically fit and really great hiker, you know, maybe you could get it done like in 8 hours or so. But in general, it's going to take you between about 10 and 14 hours to do the hike. So we started our hike at around maybe 4:45 or so.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think.
10 to 5, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So she took the 4 o'clock shuttle. My wife, we were camping. She dropped me off, and then we started our hike. I think it took me about 10 hours to do the hike, so I was done, you know, well before sunrise. And it took you
Before sunrise, sunset.
sunset. Yeah,
I was like, sunrise?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
yeah, just 16 hours.
It took me 12 hours and 53 minutes.
And so it was pretty close to sunset about that time, wasn't it? With a little bit left?
No, I think we had a little bit left.
About an hour
Yeah,
left
yeah.
or so?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you are expecting to take between 12 and 14 hours, try to get there early, so at least, you know, you get to the south end before the sunset.
I think the biggest part for me wasn't, I didn't care how long it took me. I
Yeah.
just didn't. That wasn't my goal, wasn't to see how fast I could do it. It was just to finish.
Yeah.
But the way that we timed it, I think, was perfect for going through the box.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It was, I mean, yeah, there were parts where it was hot, but for the most part, we had a decent amount of shade. And we went through it at 2 different times.
Yeah.
Daryl went ahead, and I, you know, lagged behind, taking pictures and just taking everything in. But definitely, that was my favorite part of the whole
Yeah.
hike. And everybody, like, if you're in it at the wrong time, I can see why it would
misery.
be, complete misery.
Yep.
But it was my favorite part. It was so beautiful with the water running, and just, it was incredible. It was incredible.
Yeah, and that's one of what they say, one of the benefits of starting off at the south side, because it's shorter and you're able to get to the box earlier. But like I said, it took me actually a while to get down the south side. Starting off on the north side, and I don't think I mentioned this, I mean, going downhill is not great, especially on the south side where it is really steep. But I would say the biggest surprise for me was going down North Kaibab
Yeah.
and how comfortable it was.
Yep. But we trained hard.
We did train hard for it, but it wasn't like the crazy steps.
From what we heard,
yeah,
and what I think what we were both expecting. Right.
I mean, I was expecting these huge steps that I would have to take, similar to the Bright Angel side or the South Kaibab side. And it was more just, you know, I wouldn't say it was necessarily gradual, but I considered it relatively gradual, you know, kind of longer and less downhill.
Maybe we were just so excited we didn't realize what we were doing.
Well, maybe we couldn't see because it was still dark and we had our headlamps on.
Yeah, that was fun too.
But it was super fun. But when we got to the box, like I said, we got there 2 different times.
Yep.
And it was perfect.
Yep.
I mean, it was probably about 80 degrees. It was in the shade. The water was running. I mean, it was like a woodsy. I mean, it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And so, you know, if you are doing it around that time, which is really what we'd recommend, you don't really have to worry about the box if you get there early enough. It's just, I mean, it's wonderful.
Right.
Let's talk about afterwards. Find a place on the South Rim or close to the south side. You don't want to be driving a couple of hours after you finished.
Tusayan's only 10-15 minutes outside of the park, and that's where I stayed last time, and that's where I'll be staying again.
Yep.
I stayed at Red Feather Lodge, and I think I got a room with 2 queen-size beds for like $160.
Yeah.
Well worth it. I mean, when you are done, you just want to get cleaned up.
Yep.
And then just
eat something.
And then just kind of collapse. At least I did, because, you know, exactly. It was something.
It was something. And so, yeah, find a place that's relatively close, you know, hydrate, get some food, hopefully they have a bath. You can take a nice warm bath, hot bath, and then you can just, you know, hit the hay. But yeah, that's, you know, you're not going to want to do a whole lot of driving because you're probably going to cramp up. We do have some other videos coming up. So this one was focusing on the logistics, when we would recommend doing the hike, where to stay. I have a video specifically talking about the nutrition in doing the hike, the importance of, you know, kind of eating every hour or so and taking in the proper nutrition and hydrating, and then also the gear to bring, which is really important as well. And so, yeah, I think we've done it before. I think we learned a lot along the way. And, you know, our goal with these videos is basically just to make things a little bit easier for you. Yeah. You know, we're not experts, but we were kind of beginners. Yeah, and absolutely. I think we did our research and we studied a lot, and then we learned a lot from it as well. And so hopefully it'll help you. Yeah,
I was super paranoid about what to bring because I'd never even been to the Grand Canyon. I mean, maybe when I was a little kid, we drove by and stopped, you know, but I was super paranoid about running out of water and not having the correct clothing. And I will tell you that I learned a lot, and I will definitely be changing what I bring. So in our next video, we'll talk about the differences of what I brought
what the expectations
and what I'm
were.
planning on bringing for the next one. Yeah.
So anyway, I hope this video will help you guys, and if it did, consider subscribing to my channel, and also give the video a like. As the more likes the videos get, the more likely it is to spread to others that want to do the Rim to Rim hike. I do have other videos out there talking about the hike. I have one that talks specifically about the preparations that we made in doing the hike, which includes a training hike every week. Yeah. And it's what we're on right now. So we're already starting. It's May. We're already getting ready for next October.
That's right.
And then I also have a video that kind of documents my hike, and Dawn has a video as well. We'll put links to that video as well. That kind of talks about the hike and you know, kind of our strategies, and yeah, they're a lot of fun. So hope to see you in the next one again very soon.
All right, go hike.
Go hike.